Hello and welcome to my walkthrough of the Pearson Edexcel GCSE November 2024 Mathematics Paper 1 Non-Calculator Paper Higher Tier. Let's jump straight into it. Okay, so question 1 here, work out 818.4 divided by 1.2. If we multiply both terms by 10, we still get the same question. It just makes it a bit easier that we don't have to deal with decimal points. So now I'm going to do long division on this. So 12s into 8184. 12s do not go into 8, so we carry that forward. 12s into 81 is going to be 72, which is just going to be 6 times 12. And we're going to carry forward a 9 here, so we now have 984. 12s into 98 go 8 times, with 2 remainder. So we're going to say that is 12 lots of 96. 12 lots of 8 is 96. That leaves 2 remainder. There's your 24. 12s into 24 go 2 times exactly, leaving no remainder. So our answer to question 1 is 682. Question number 2. The table shows probabilities that a biased dice will land on 3, 4, 5, and 6. Kareem assumes the probabilities that it will land on 1 and 2 are the same. Kareem rolls the dice 500 times. Assuming Kareem is right, work out an estimate for the number of times the dice will land on 2. The probabilities we have so far are 0.1, 0.3, 0.05, and 0.25. If we add those up, we get 0.7. So the probability that it's not 1 or 2 is going to be 0.7, and we've 500 times rolling the dice gives us 350, which means if it lands on 1 or 2, that's going to happen 150 times. And we are told, well, we're assuming that probabilities that it will land on 1 and 2 are the same, which means the number of times it's going to land on 2 is just going to be 150 divided by 2, 75. Kareem is wrong. The probability that the dice will land on 2 is greater than the probability that the dice will land on 1. How does this information affect your answer to part A? It's therefore going to land on 2 more times. So we're going to say the number will be higher. Question number 4. ABCD is a parallelogram. All angles are measured in degrees. Find an expression in terms of E for the sides of angles CAD. Give a reason for each stage of your working. So if it's a parallelogram, that means these two angles, we're going to call them X and Y, equal 180 degrees. Therefore, we can say 180 degrees minus 3E equals angle X. And we can see from the picture that X also equals the angle CAD plus E. So 180 minus 3E equals CAD plus E. Therefore, CAD equals 180 minus 4E. Question number 5. A car travelled 4.96 miles at an average speed of 30.4 miles an hour. Work out an estimate for the time taken by the car. Give your answer in minutes. So 4.96 miles is approximately 5 miles. 30.4 miles per hour is approximately 30 miles per hour. Therefore, 5 miles divided by 30 miles per hour gives us 1/6 of an hour, and 1/6 of an hour is 10 minutes. Part B. Is your answer to part A an underestimate or overestimate? Give a reason for your answer. So we have rounded this number up and this number down, so it is an overestimate as larger number dividing by smaller number, both making our total higher. Question number 3. Part A. Work out 3.5 minus 1 1/6. Give your answer as a mixed number. First thing I'm going to do is make these top-heavy fractions. So 3.5 is going to be 6 halves plus a half. And 1 1/6 is going to be 6 sixths plus a sixth. Let's make sure we put a bracket in there. That gives us 7/2 minus 7/6. We'll now make them a common denominator by just multiplying top and bottom of this one by 3, which gives us 21/6 minus 7/6, giving us 14/6. The question wants it as a mixed number, which is just going to be 12/6 plus 2/6, 2 and 2/6, which is the same as 2 and a third. Part B, show that 5 1/4 divided by 2 1/3 equals 2 1/4. So similarly, 5 1/4 is going to be 20 quarters plus a quarter, and 2 1/3 is going to be 6 thirds plus a third. So we're going to have 21 quarters divided by 7 thirds. When you divide by a fraction, you can multiply by the reciprocal. So we're going to do 21/4 multiplied by 3/7. Multiplying the top, we get 63. Multiplying the bottom, we get 28. Now, if I divide this through by 7 on top and bottom, as 63 and 28 both divide by 7, we get 9/4. 9/4 is just 8/4 plus a quarter, which is 2 1/4 as required. Question number 7, nice quick one here. The graph shows the volume of water V litres in a tank at time t seconds. What does the gradient of this graph represent? So we know the gradient is just the difference in y divided by the difference in x. So for us, it's going to be the difference in volume divided by the difference in time. Or you can say that another way by saying this is the rate of change of the volume. Also acceptable was the rate of water poured, the speed of the pouring of the water, how fast the water is being used, etc. Question number 6. Here is a pentagon. Angle A equals angle C, angle B equals 155 degrees, angle D is 3 times the size of angle C, angle E is 2 times the size of angle C. Work out the size of angle A, which is the same as working out the size of angle C. So as it's a pentagon, we know everything, the internal angles need to add up to 540 degrees. So we can say that A plus B plus C plus D plus E equals 540 degrees. We know that angle A is the same as angle C, B is 155, C is just C, D is 3 lots of C, and E is 2 lots of C. I'll take the 155 onto the other side and put all the C's together so that we have 1, 2, 5, 7 C equals 385. 385 divided by 7. 7 times 50 is 350. 7 times 5 is 35. So 350, 35. That makes 385. So 55 times 7 is 385, which makes C 55 degrees, which makes A 55 degrees. Question number 8. The diagram shows a solid triangular prism on a horizontal floor. The face in contact with the floor is a rectangle of width 2 meters. The pressure on the floor due to the prism is 80 newtons per meter squared. The force exerted by the prism on the floor is 720 newtons. Work out the length of the prism. So we have a formula up here for pressure equals force times area. So putting in the numbers we have, pressure is 80. Force is 720, and area we do not have. Rearranging this equation, we get area equals 720 divided by 80, which is going to give us 9 meters squared. And the area is simply going to be the length multiplied by the width. We already have the width is 2, so we're going to say area equals width times length. 9 equals 2 times length. Therefore, the length is just 4.5 meters. Question 9. The cumulative frequency graph gives information about the marks that 60 students got in a test. For these 60 students, the highest mark was 74, the lowest mark was 8. On the grid below, draw a box plot for the distribution of the marks. So first thing I'll do is mark the 8 and the 74 on here. So looking at the gaps here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares between 0 and 10, which means every 3 squares corresponds to 5. So this will be a little bit rough, but we'll do our best. So 8 is going to be about here on the box plot. And we want 74, so just shy of halfway. So about here on the box plot. Then we also need the lower quartile, the median, and the upper quartile. So the lower quartile, we have 60 students. That's going to be where the 15 students mark what they got. That's about here, which falls at 25. So I'm going to mark 25, just like this. Whoops. And then the median is going to be where 30 students go, which is going to be about here. Again, I'll read that down. That is about 34. So 34 will be just before halfway here. And then we have the upper quartile is going to be where 45 students got, which is going to be here. Again, I'll read down, and that is about 42. So we'll do 42 about here, and then I'll finish up my box plot by adding in some lines. So you'd use a ruler in the actual exam, but I'm obviously doing this on an iPad. The pass mark for the test was 40. Sian says 30% of the 60 students passed the test. Is Sian correct? You must show how you get your answer. So 30% of the 16 students is going to be 60 times 30%, which is going to be 18. Therefore, what she's saying is that 42 students or less didn't pass, which means if we look at the graph, what we're saying is if 42 or more students have a mark less than 40, then Sian is wrong. So returning to our graph, we have mark of 40, and I'll go all the way up to my diagram to here. And as you can see, this here is 42. So we have that exactly 42 students got a mark of 40 or less. And I will just put, from reading the graph, 42 students got 40% or less, therefore 18 passed. Therefore, I'll put actually at least 18 passed, therefore Sian is right. Question number 10. Work out 25 to the power half times 8 to the power third. 25 to the power half is the same as saying the square root of 25. And 8 to the power third is the same as saying the cube root of 8. So what number squared gives 25? That will just be 5. And what number cubed gives 8? That will just be 2, as 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Therefore, the answer to part A is just 10. And for part B, find the value of 1 over 32 to the 3 over 5. That is the same as saying the fifth root of 1 over 32 cubed. Now, what number to the power 5 gives 1 over 32? If we just focus on the bottom of the fraction, what number to the power 5 gives 32? That would be 2 to the power 5 gives 32. Therefore, 1 over 2 to the power 5 is 1 over 32, which means the fifth root of 1 over 32 is just a half. So this becomes a half to the power 3, and a half to the power 3 is just 1/8. Question 11. Kate was asked to factorise x squared plus 5x plus 6 in the form x plus a lots of x plus b. Kate says the sum of a and b must be 6 and the product of a and b must be 5. Explain what is wrong with Kate's statement. She has this the wrong way around. The product must be 6, the sum must be 5. Part B, factorise fully 2m squared minus 2. Well, straight away we can see that 2 can be taken out of these brackets, and we just have m squared minus 1. Now you can write m squared minus 1 as m plus 1 multiplied by m minus 1, and that is our answer. And part C, factorise fully ax plus bx minus ay minus by. So if I split this into a's and b's, I can say this is ax minus ay plus bx minus by, or a lots of x minus y plus b lots of x minus y, which is just rewritten as a plus b lots of x minus y. Question 14. ABC is a triangle. Work out the length of AB. We're going to use the sine rule. So we're going to say AC over the angle ABC is going to be equal to AB over the angle ACB. So we have AC already, which is 3 root 2. Sine should be here. Sine of ABC and sine of ACB. Sine of ABC, which is sine 30, which is just 0.5, equals AB over sine ACB, which is sine 45, which is just 1 over root 2. So I'll do that like that, 1 over root 2. I'll multiply both sides by 1 over root 2, so we get 3 root 2 over 0.5 root 2 equals AB. Cancel the root 2's, and therefore we get AB is just 3 over a half, which is the same as 3 times 2, which is just 6. Question 12. A, B, and C are 3 solid spheres. Sphere A has volume 64 centimeters cubed. Sphere B has volume of 125 centimeters cubed. The radius of sphere C is 50% of the radius of sphere B. Work out the ratio of the surface area of sphere A to the surface area of sphere C. Give your answer in the form A to B, where A and B are integers. Okay, so we know that sphere A has volume 64 and sphere B has volume 125. So the volumes have ratio 64 to 125. If we take the cube root of each of these numbers, we can then compare the ratios of the radius length. So the cube root of 64 happens to be 4, and the cube root of 125 happens to be 5. So that is the radius of A compared to the radius of B. We know that the radius of C is 50% of the radius of B. Therefore, the radius of B compared to the radius of C is going to be 2 to 1. But we don't care about B, we want A and C. So I need to convert these so that they are the same. So B is the same in both of these. So what I'm going to do is multiply both A and B by 2 on this one and by 5 on this one, so that we get 8 to 10 ratio and 10 to 5 ratio. Therefore, we get 8 to 5 is the ratio of the radiuses of A compared to the radius of C. But we don't want the radiuses, we want the areas. So what we're going to do is we're going to square both these numbers. And so what we're going to get is 64 to 25 is our ratio. Question number 13. Here are 2 cuboids. All lengths are measured in centimeters. The volume of cuboid A is 142 centimeters cubed, greater than the volume of cuboid B. Work out the value of x. So cuboid A volumes is just going to be x plus 2 multiplied by 2x minus 1 multiplied by x minus 1. And we know that B is x plus 3 multiplied by 2x multiplied by x minus 3 plus 142. If we expand these out, I'm going to do it one term at a time. Just checking there's nothing I can simplify straight away here. It doesn't look like it. One term at a time. So x times 2x is 2x squared. 2 times 2x is 4x. Then we have a minus x. Then we have a minus 2 multiplied by x minus 1. And over here we have 2x squared plus 6x multiplied by x minus 3 plus 142. Expand this out, we get 2x cubed plus 4x squared minus x squared minus 2x minus 2x squared minus 4x plus x plus 2. And then we get 2x cubed plus 6x squared minus 6x squared minus 18x plus 142. Let's simplify a little bit. We're going to get rid of these 6x squared straight away. 2x squared is on both, 2x cubed, sorry, is on both sides, so let's get rid of that as well. Over here we have 4x squared minus x squared, so we've got 3x squared minus another 2x squared, we just get x squared. Then we have minus 2x minus 4x plus x, so that is minus 5x plus 2 equals minus 18x plus 142. Let's put it all on one side, we get x squared plus 13x minus 140 equals 0. And then we're going to use the quadratic formula to solve this. So minus 13 plus minus the square root of 13 squared minus 4 times 1 times 140 all over 2 is going to give us minus 13 plus minus the square root of 169. That's what 13 squared is, 169. 4 times 140 is 560. So this is going to be 13 squared plus 560, so 729 over 2. The square root of 729 is 27 over 2. Therefore, our solutions are going to be minus 13 plus 27, which is going to be 14 over 2, so 7. Or minus 13 minus 27, which is minus 40 over 2 minus 20. Can't be minus 20 as we're looking at positive values, as we're looking at volumes of physical objects. Therefore, our answer is x equals 7. Question 15. OXYZ is a parallelogram. OY equals A and OZ equals B. M is the point on OY such that OM compared to MY is 1 to 3. N is the point on OZ such that OZN compared to NZ is 1, 2. Work out the ratio XN to MN. You must show all your working. Okay, so OY is A, which means since we have OM compared to MY is 1, 3, that means that OM is going to be a quarter of A and MY is going to be 3/4 of A. Similarly, we're going to have ON is going to be 1/3 of B, and NZ is going to be 2/3 of B. So the question wants us to find out what XN is. So first we need to do XO. So I'll say XO. That is the same as saying XY plus YO. We know that OY is A, which makes YO minus A. But since this is a parallelogram, we know that ZY must equal OY. And similarly, OZ must equal XY. So we already know OZ is equal to B. So we have B minus A is going to be XO, and then ON we've worked out already as 1/3 B. Therefore, XN is just 1/3 B plus B minus A, so 4/3 B minus A. And then MN is just going to be MO plus ON. MO is going to be the opposite of OM, so minus 1/4 A. ON we already know is 1/3 B. Therefore, XN to MN, which is what we're actually trying to find, we are comparing 4/3 B minus A and minus 1/4 A plus 1/3 B. And if we look closely at this, 4/3 B minus A is actually 4 times 1/3 B minus 1/4 A. So the ratio here is just 4 to 1. Question 16a. Rationalise the denominator of 15 over root 5. Give your answer in its simplest form. So 15 over root 5, multiply the top and the bottom by root 5, we get 15 root 5 over 5, which is the same as 3 root 5. And part B, write root 75 minus 2 over 1 plus 2 root 3 in the form of a minus b root 3 over c, where a, b, and c are integers. So similarly, I'm going to rationalize the denominator here. So let's times top and bottom by 1 minus 2 root 3. So we get root 75, we get minus 2 root 3 root 75. We have plus 4 root 3 minus 2 over 1 minus 12, so minus 11, it seems like on the bottom. So then what I'm going to do is rewrite root 75. Root 75 is just another way of saying root 25 times root 3. So root 25 is just 5. So 5 root 3. So let's rewrite this as 5 root 3 minus 2 root 3 times 5 root 3 plus 4 root 3 minus 2 over minus 11. I'll multiply out these ones in the middle. So 5 root 3 minus 10 times root 3, which is just 10 times 3, which is 30, plus 4 root 3 minus 2 over minus 11. That's 9 root 3 minus 32 over minus 11, which is the same as saying 32 minus 9 root 3 over 11, which is just our answer here. Question 17. A, B, and C are points on a circle centre O. CD is a tangent to the circle. Angle BCD equals 40 degrees. Angle OAB equals 3 times angle OAC. Work out the size of angle ACD. Write down any circle theorems that you use. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is say that since we have angle OAB equals 3 times angle OAC, I'm going to put OAC on here as x degrees and OAB in as 3x degrees. Then we know that BCD is 40, so I'll put that on here as well. BCD is 40 degrees. So we'll use our first circle theorem here, and I'm going to say the alternate segment theorem, apologies for my handwriting, tells us that the angle BCD equals the angle BAC, which is 40 degrees. So BAC is the full bit here, which means 40 degrees equals 4x, therefore x equals 10, which means we have OAB equal 30 degrees and OAC equal 10 degrees. So I'm going to say replace the 3x here with 30, replace the x here with 10. Now what we have here, OAB is now an isosceles triangle, because we know that this side length and this side length are the same as they're both the radius of the circle. So I can put in that this is 30 degrees, and I'm just going to scrub out this 40 in the middle here. We know that that's the full angle, but it's going to get too small if I don't do that. This must be 120 degrees, as the angles in the triangle need to add up to 180 degrees. So next, we're going to use another circle theorem and say her angle at centre is twice the angle at circumference for an arc. And our arc is going to be AB. So this angle in the centre here, this 120, is twice this angle here. So we're going to say, therefore, BCA equals 60 degrees. Now, the question wants us to find the size of angle ACD. ACD must then equal 60 plus 40, which is 100 degrees. Question 18. F of x equals 5x minus 3 over 4. Find f minus 1 of x. So I always write this in a bit of a different way. I make f of x equal y, and I say y equals 5x minus 3 over 4. Multiply through by 4, we get 4y equals 5x minus 3. Add the 3, divide through by the 5, so x equals 4y plus 3 over 5, and x is actually, in this scenario, f minus 1 of x. So 4y plus 3 over 5 is our answer, but I just need to change this to an x. I just like writing it as y to make it a little bit easier to use a formula rather than chucking around f of x's all the way. For all values of x, g of x equals x minus 1 all squared, and h of x equals 1 minus 2x. Part B, work out the value of gh5. So what we do first is h5. That's going to be 1 minus 2 lots of 5, 1 minus 10, minus 9. And then we do g of minus 9 equals minus 9 minus 1 squared, minus 10 squared, which is just 100. Question 19. In the semi-finals of a chess tournament, player A will play player B, and player C will play player D. The two winners will then play each other in the final. The probability that A will win against B is 0.6, that A will win against C is 0.5, that A will win against D is 0.3, and the probability that C will win against D is 0.2. Work out the probability that A will win the chess tournament. So, for A to win the chess tournament, that is going to be A beats B, and then A beats C, or A beats B, and then A beats D. For this one to have happened, we need A beats B and C beats D, then A beats C, and in this one we need A beats B, then D beats C, then A beats C. So we're going to have A beats B, which is 0.6. We're going to need C beats D, which is going to be 0.2. Then we're also going to need to times that by A beats C, which is 0.5. Sorry, this should be a D here. A beats B in the second scenario is 0.6. D beats C is then going to be 0.7. No, 0.8. It's going to be 1 minus 0.2. And then A beating D is 0.3. So we need 0.12 times 0.5, and here we need 0.48 times 0.3. So here we're going to have 0.06, and here it's a little bit more complicated. I'll need to times by 3 and divide by 10. So 0.48 times 3 is going to be 1.44 divided by 10. So we're going to get 0.144. And then all we need to do is add these two scenarios together. And that gives us 0.204 is our probability. Question 20. C is the circle with equation x squared plus y squared equals 4. Find an equation of the tangent to C at the point P1, where P is greater than 0. Give your answer in the form y plus root a x equal b, where a and b are integers. You must show all your working. So what we're going to do first is work out the value of P. So we know that y equals 1. So we can say x squared plus 1 squared equals 4. 1 squared is 1. So x squared equals 3. Therefore, x equals plus minus the square root of 3. We're told p is greater than 0. So p is just root 3. So we have root 3. 1 is our point. So then we can work out the gradient of the radius of the circle at our point. We know that the centre is 0, 0 because of this formula of a circle. If it wasn't 0, 0, it would be x minus something squared plus y minus something squared. So we can say dy over dx is going to be 1 minus 0 over the square root of 3 minus 0. So the gradient of the radius is 1 over root 3. Therefore, the gradient of the tangent is going to be minus 1 over the gradient of the radius, by definition of perpendicular lines. So the gradient of the tangent is minus root 3. So if we then formulate y equals mx plus c for the tangent, we can say y equals minus root 3x plus c, and we will put back in my root 3 1 from earlier. So we get 1 equals minus root 3 times root 3 plus c, so that we can work out c. So 1 equals minus 3 plus c, therefore c equals 4. So our equation of a tangent at that point is y equals minus the root 3x plus 4. The question wants it in the format y plus root a x plus b, so we'll change it to y plus root 3x equals 4. And that is our final answer.